everyone. This is Luna Ora from the Sex Magic School of Isis and Lilith. And today we're going to talk about the serpent medicine of women. And in my work and in my life, even before I started this work, I've been working between worlds. And as now I walk as a sex priestess and a psychedelic witch. And I work with plant medicine and the sacred technology of the body to help women and men too, and all beings who carry feminine energy, remember what has been systematically forgotten, that your sexual life force is not commodity. It is not entertainment. It is not something to be managed or controlled. It is power. And so, although I would say most of this video is for women, men should really listen to this video and connect, because we need men to fully honor the divine feminine essence and the feminine medicine, and they cannot do that if they don't understand the feminine. Now, as I explained in the past many times, you cannot understand the feminine. Like, that's literally, you can't understand the energy of chaos. And when I say chaos, it's not in the negative meaning. But the feminine energy is everything. The womb, the feminine, the divine mother. It is all, like that movie, All at Once at the Same Time. Like that. That's pure feminine energy movie, by the way. Full subconscious feminine. Chaos. But it has the key to everything because it's life itself. There could be no life without the feminine. And so today, we are going to talk about what happens when this power awakens and is activated, and how plant medicine can be the key that unlocks what patriarchy has spent centuries trying to suppress. So let's take a breath and settle into our bodies, because what we're about to explore is not theory, it is a transmission, and it's real. And if you're listening to this, it's because some part of you is ready to remember, my sister and my brother. So let me tell you what they do not want you to know. The way I like to do that. There is a current. There is some energy, the current that lives up a woman's spine. It's a very ancient, intelligent, and creative energy. The yogis call it Kundalini, which I don't like that word so much. The mystics call it the serpent, and indigenous cultures across the planet honor it as life force itself. It is the same force that birthed children, ideas, and civilization. When this energy is suppressed, humanity becomes mechanical, disconnected, easy to control. We perform our roles. We numb ourselves with consumption. We mistake arousal for awakening and transaction for intimacy. But when this energy is awakened and activated in the right way, when a woman reconnects to the serpent fire at the base of her spine, she becomes sovereign. Now, for centuries, this energy was shamed, distorted, commodified, and feared and demonized, as I explained in many of my videos. And for a good reason, because a woman connected to her life force cannot be owned. And the dark masculine system, the patriarchy, needed to own women in order to control them, in order to control all of humanity, because you have to control women if you want to control humanity. She cannot be gaslit, a woman in her power. She cannot be convinced that she's small because she knows that she's not. This is why the witch hunts happened. This is why masturbation was called unclean. This is why female sexuality has been either demonized or objectified, but rarely honored, actually honored. The divine feminine sexual energy is the original creative fire. It is intuition sharpened into discernment. It is softness fused with ferocity. It is the ability to feel deeply without drowning, and it's the courage to love without collapsing. And this is what I've witnessed in my work with hundreds of women at this moment. When you awaken this energy, you don't just change your sex life. That's just like the little bonus on top. You change your entire reality and literally who you are. Because again, sexual force is your life force. If you want to understand the basics, just the basics of it, you can read my million-page book, Sex Magic Evolution. And this is the first book. It's the basic book to begin with, although some people start with Symbols of Sex Magic or another book. You should start with the book that calls you the most, but definitely have Sex Magic Evolution, because you need, like, this is the one you really, really need, on top of another book that calls to you. And so let's talk about also another client of mine from many years ago. Let's call her Maria. And she came to me completely disconnected from her body, like many women do, but she especially. She was successful and brilliant and achieving in every external way. I've never seen a woman like her, but internally she was numb. She hadn't felt genuine pleasure in years. Sex was performative, orgasm was mechanical, and if it happened at all in her life, which was very sad. We worked with Cacao and other medicine, which I cannot say here on YouTube, and other practices of Sex Priestess, and which you can also read about in the Sex Priestess Manual, the biggest book. This will also take you on a self-initiation. And then in a guided journey, again, with another medicine I don't want to share here, something cracked open. So she described it as this golden serpent uncoiling from the base of her pelvis, which is the main energy that I invite for women when we do this work. For most women, it's to activate the life force, which again, in the spiritual community, you would call it Kundalini. But I do not like that word because it doesn't, that code word doesn't also, it's a very, the way I explain to people, it's a very small word for a big, it just doesn't hold the frequencies of the actual energy, just for lack of better words right now. So this energy, we moved it up her belly, her heart, and her throat, especially. She threw up a little bit too, because once some energy is activated, things can happen in the body, energies that are stuck there for many years, etc. And she cried and, roared, and she shook with a lot of energies and that had been literally locked into tissues and the cells of her body for decades. And afterwards, she told me that it was like someone turned on the light on in a house that she was living. She was living in blind, but then someone turned on the lights. She could suddenly feel again, not just sexually, although also sexually, but she could also feel her intuition and her boundaries and her truth, most of all. Let me just take a sip of water, guys. So it was a few more months. I think it was 2 or 3 months after. And then she left a relationship that was draining her, started another business. And anyway, she began to experience full body orgasms, which we worked on too in a Sex Priestess Initiation and in her ceremony. And I'm telling you this story because it exists for every woman. It is your basic natural right to feel pleasure. And if you don't feel full on pleasure, then something is stuck and we just got to move it. But it is there for every woman, and it is your right, and it also your gift for the world. If you feel your pleasure fully, you're given a gift to the world as well, because that is a force that is connected to the womb of the mother herself. And so when our wombs as sisters is activated and awakened, we are connected to the womb of the Divine Mother, and we literally are changing the world. So this is what I mean by power. The real power has always been held by women, and that is why we've been suppressed for so long. And only the men who can see that can join us in the next dimension. The little boys who are now listening to this maybe and thinking, oh, but men also, these are little boys, and you're not listening to what I'm saying, and you cannot evolve with us women who are rising up. Not all women, obviously. Some women are probably never going to evolve. I'm talking about conscious women who want to make the change, and we need conscious men to do that with us. But we're not going to put up with shit anymore. I think that you can see it in society. Women are not going to put up with men's shit anymore. So the activation of the divine feminine sexual life force is not about seduction, okay? It's not about performance. It is not about the pleasure itself alone. It is a reclamation of who you are and your true power in this world. And when I say power, I don't mean the way that you see it from a masculine perspective of like control and power. No, the feminine power, the divine feminine power is something so sacred and so important and vital. And it never seeks control. It never seeks what you would see in the shadow masculine world. Even a divine masculine doesn't seek control. The divine masculine, which we don't see in this world so often because this is a world of shadow masculine. This is a world that was created for and by the toxic, most shadow masculine demonic entities possible. And so even men are suppressed in this world, the divine masculine men. So now let me be clear about something. You do not need plant medicine to awaken your sexual life force. I want to be very clear about that. This is the work that I do, and I'm telling you, you don't need it. Okay? For some women, it's been a game changer. It's been a life changer. Like they were ready at the moment. They found me or they find someone else and they use plant medicine. But women have been doing this work for millennia through dance and breath work and touch and sound. But you just have to find the right way that works for you. So here's what plant medicine offers that few other modalities can match. So it dissolves the architecture of shame. This is what is one of the main gifts of plant medicine, because it literally puts all of your ego, especially for women, it's shame. For men too, actually, it's like the main thing I work with is shame for men. It puts it on the side and you can actually work with the core issue and go deep into the core. So you see, sexual shame doesn't live in your logical mind. You can understand intellectually that your sexuality is sacred. You can affirm it. You can want to believe it. But the shame itself, it lives in your nervous system. I'm talking for women right now. Men experience shame in different ways, not necessarily sexually. They experience shame in a different way. So it exists in your fascia, the cellular memory of your body. It was installed there by religion, by trauma, by culture, by every message that told you that your desire was dirty, that your body was wrong, that your pleasure was sinful, and that it's dangerous to feel pleasure. For so many generations, our pleasure was dangerous for our existence. So plant medicine, when worked with ceremonially, in a sacred way, in the right way, so many people today think that they're shamans and they work with medicine and they cause so much damage to people. I've been saying this for so many years, and I am so pissed off because 90% of people who work with medicine do not actually know how to work with the subconscious mind. And so they cause so much damage, or they don't do anything at all. They just kind of create like an illusion of a pretty experience because they give people drugs and then they feel good and oh my God, I did medicine with this person. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like if you are not rebirthing yourself in a medicine ceremony completely, it's not worth it. Like I'm not doing medicine ceremonies with people just for them to take drugs and get high. That's BS. And so you have to work with medicine with honor, with respect, with integrity. You have to work with reverence, with proper guidance. And then you can access those layers that talk therapy, for example, can never access. I have couples after years of talk therapy come to me and we solve the problem in a month, because we dealt with the issue. So let me share what happened with another client. Let's call her Jasmine for the sake of this conversation. So Jasmine came to me carrying sexual trauma from childhood. She's done years of therapy. She understood what happened to her. She really, really did the work. Like she wanted to do the work so bad. She could talk about it. She had no problem talking about it, but her body was still locked. She couldn't receive touch without dissociating. Intimacy felt very dangerous for her. So we began with some series of practices and things that I teach sex priestesses, and not going to go over here, and specific medicines that I'm not going to share here too. So in those sessions, we worked somatically, helping her nervous system learn about her nervous system learns what safety is all about all over again, while we work with plant medicine in a specific way, because for every client, it's a little bit different. I have a specific way that I do medicine ceremonies for couples, for example, but when it comes to like one-on-one with just one person with singles, it could be different according to what they need and where they're at the moment. And so she was ready. We journeyed with medicine, and something really profound happened. She described meeting a version of herself, her child self, and being able to hold her. And this, and just again, working with the inner child in a very, very deep way to reprogram that version of you, that inner child, and so that you can be rebirthed in a new way right now. Again, it's very hard to explain because I can't explain this kind of work in a YouTube video. So it wasn't just psychological healing; it was energetic, and it happened in her nervous system too. And that's what's important. You have to work with all the levels of your being all together. That's why you have to find someone who knows what the fuck they're doing with their work with medicine ceremony, with medicine, because they need to know how to work not just with your subconscious and be a master of subconscious. They also need to work with all the levels of your being, which is mental, emotional, physical. That's why I prepare people that come to ceremony with me. They have to cleanse their body for 30 days at least before that. I take this very seriously. So you got to work with all the levels of the being, the sexual, and all the shadow parts as well. And this is what I do, and I've never seen anyone else do it. Not to boast my own horn here, but I just know that, and it makes me sick the way that people use medicine in such dishonorable ways in our world. Some people use it really well because they just give people the medicine, and they're like, the medicine's going to do what it needs to do. They don't claim to be, I'm a shaman and I'm going to heal you and I'm going to this. First of all, no one's a shaman. And second of all, you can never heal anyone. Even me, none of us can actually heal anyone else. We can guide them. We can help them see through their shit, and we can create sacred inner unions within people, which is what I do and what most of my books are about. But no one can heal someone else. The only person that can heal a person is themselves. So I just wanted to go on a little rant about it because that's a very, very important point. So going back to Jasmine, she felt the medicine move through her, dissolving her armors and in her pelvis and her body. It was beautiful, beautiful 2-night ceremony. We actually did 3 nights, but then the 3rd night was something different happened. And so this wasn't like a one-time miracle, okay? The plant medicine opened the door, but the real work happened in a few weeks later, because I also work a few weeks later with people. As she learned to stay present in the body, this is called integration. When you work with medicine, you have to have integration after. And again, years later now, she's in a very conscious relationship where her sex is being worshipped, and she is just. I think I'm not in contact with her so much, but I think she's actually doing some sort of a sex yoga fun thing with other people in her community, very small, which I'm really proud of her. And so this is the magic. This is the magic. And again, I can't even describe to you all of it. I'm just giving you little nibs of it. A medicine ceremony with specific medicines, working in the right way in the right time with your subconscious. It's not a magic pill, okay? It's a key. But you still have to walk through the door, and you still have to practice being in your power. You still have to choose your sovereignty every single day. Now, the womb, which I always talk about, you can read about it in this book, the Sex Priestess Manual. You can read about it in Sex Magic Evolution, especially. And really in all my books also. The Last Priestess, if you haven't read it, this is a story. It's a very, I can't even describe this book. It's a very unique book. It's basically I channeled it and wrote it in one evening when I was in Thailand in a hotel room about my memories from the fall of the temple, about King Solomon and everything and all the lies and the truth and blah, blah, blah. Super powerful. If you read this book and you feel something in your body while reading it, you are a sex priestess. So contact me. Okay. So the womb, whether you have a physical womb or an energetic one for women who have had their wombs cut out of their bodies, like my mother, my earthly mother, it's not just a reproductive organ, it is a portal. So a portal of creation, of magnetism, of spiritual authority. In my work, I teach women to relate to their womb as an altar, as the temple itself. You are the temple itself, a sacred space where you can commune with your deepest wisdom, with your ancestors, with divine feminine herself, with the mother herself, with everything, because the womb is everything. She is everything. The eternal womb of the mother, as I call it, it is the source. It is what people would call God, but God is even such a small word to describe it because she is everything. And when plant medicine is introduced into this practice, the portal opens wider so we can do even deeper work. I've guided women through many medicine journeys where they've met their womb as a conscious entity, even where they've received visions of past life, lineage trauma, being cleared of future children asking to be born, which is a big one, by the way. And in the future, this is something I want to touch on I want to really touch on how to give birth to magical children and how the importance of a sacred birth, not just the birth itself, but how to conceive a child. We have fucked up in that as humanity. Seriously, we have forgotten the rites of initiation of birthing a child. And I mean, most people are not even in a sacred union. Most people marry some random person thinking that it's the love of their life. And they haven't even began to create their sacred union. And then they bring children into the world and good luck with that. So in the next dimension we are stepping into, we have to create sacred unions. Again, this book is all about it. Sex, Magic, Evolution. Get it, read it again, and read it again. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I was gonna give you another example of a medicine ceremony, but I don't want this video to be very long, so I'm going to not do that. So let me see where I'm going to continue. Give me a second, guys. So when you awaken your womb through plant medicine and sacred practice, you're not just healing yourself, you are literally healing your lineage. And you're shifting the frequency of what's possible for the next generation, as well as you're healing your past generations, because there is no time and space. I've talked about it in my other video that I did. It's called, I think it's called, If You Don't Face Your Demons, They Will Eat Your Children. I know it sounds very dramatic, but it's true. So now I want to address something important. What happens when the feminine awakens and she's in a relationship with a masculine? So here's what I've witnessed. When a woman reclaims her sacred sexuality, one of two things happen. Either her partner rises with her into conscious masculinity. He has to, learning to meet her depth, to hold space for her wildness, to worship the altar of her body without trying to own it, to basically step the fuck up and be a king and a divine masculine in every way. Or the relationship cannot hold the frequency and it just dissolves and they break up. Both are sacred. I tell this to my clients. I've had people come to me to break up, to have what people call in the spiritual community a conscious breakup. And we've had the most sacred, incredible rituals of breaking up couples after many years of marriage or being in a relationship together. It can be very sacred and extremely empowering and healing for both partners if done correctly, with reverence and integrity for the next step of their life. So I've worked also with couples with medicine where they've experienced sacred union, where sex becomes a portal to the divine, where the bodies literally dissolve into energy, and where they can touch the face of God through each other. And one couple I worked with, they've been together, I think 15 years, like a long time. Amazing people. Loved each other very much, like legitimately loved each other. But their intimacy, it became a routine, a predictable, which happens to many couples, right? It was safe, but it was not alive. Which being safe is a big thing because there are a lot of people married and their sex life is not even safe. But so in our sessions with medicine and intentional touch practices that I teach sex priestesses, they experience something that they described as becoming one being, which is really an experience that many couples that go through this journey get to eventually. Not all of them, but when they do enough work to release themselves from enough shadows, they will get there. The boundaries between their bodies blurred. They literally became one body, which is an incredible experience. They felt each other's pleasure as their own. Like every person felt the other person's body completely. They wept at the beauty of truly seeing each other for the first time in many years. And it for me as a priestess, it's one of the most beautiful things to witness, right? Especially in this sacred space of ceremony, when these two people trust me, fully trust me. I cannot even describe to you the awe that I'm feeling in the moment of just so much love in my body to these people. So it wasn't about technique, right? Because it's never about technique. And because people can fall very quickly into the technique part because of the ego and what they're used to and the program that they're used to about sex. But this was about full presence, about him learning to slow down, which is what I teach a lot of men in my God Men program. It's presence, man. You really need to master that. Listen to her body's wisdom, be with her body, and to follow her energy rather than his own agenda and what he needs and what he wants in the moment. And so, and her, the woman learning to surrender, which is, again, surrender is the basic power of a feminine. And it's all in this book, the Sex Priestess Manual. And this is what sacred union really looks like. This is a moment of a sacred union. Not power struggle, not performance, not, one person serving the other's needs. No. This is a sacred union. But two sovereign beings choosing to merge their energy in service of something greater than themselves. And when the masculine learns to hold space for an awakened feminine, when he learns that her pleasure is not something to extract, but something to revere and honor, like honor fully, everything changes. Children are born now into this love, actual love, not fake love, instead of trauma. And systems built on domination begin to crumble. This is why I repeat again and again, especially in this book is all about the fact that a sacred union will save the world. True sacred union will save the world. And I'm not exaggerating in that. This is why I started this school many years ago, the Sex Magic School of Isis and Lilith, because I know, and I will give my life on it, like that actual real sacred unions, not fake ones, because we see a lot of fake sacred unions in the spiritual community. People walking around, oh, I'm in a sacred union. No. I hate when people use these words just like lightly and don't understand the significance of what that actually means and the commitment and the sacredness you have to live in order to live in a sacred union and to build it up and to keep it alive. So here's what I want you to understand, my loved ones. If you feel something that I said, like moving something in you, then this is a call towards your sacred sexuality, this curiosity about plant medicine, maybe this sense that there's a deeper power waiting to be remembered. It's not fantasy, it's real, and you can have it. And it's your truth asking to be lived, and there's a part of you that asking for you to hear it and listen to it. When a divine feminine awakens her sexual energy with reverence instead of repression, she becomes a living fucking altar. And from that altar, a new world is born. The dark masculine will see it as rebellion, but it is simply remembrance. And remembrance is revolutionary. And this is what we're seeing in the world now. Many women choose to stay in their shadow toxicity and follow the dark forces. And many women are risking their lives literally to liberate humanity, to liberate themselves, to liberate themselves from this hell. And so we are rising up. And the world is splitting in two. It has been splitting in two for a few years now, at least since 2000. And now we are really in the midst of this journey. And we're seeing the split. And we're seeing the people who are actually going to evolve and the people who are just hopeless. And, I'm sorry for you guys. So this is why, on my Instagram, I've had a few posts recently, and I just wrote like, last call, brothers, like last call for you guys to join us, because it's happening. It's really happening. When the divine feminine awakens her sexual energy again with reverence, we can change the world. We can actually have sacred unions. We can liberate ourselves. And when the feminine is sacred and free and loved, everyone is sacred and free and loved. When the feminine wins, everyone wins. When the feminine loses, everyone loses. I said that many, many times. So I invite you to begin where you're at, begin where you are, right? Maybe it's placing your hands on your womb and breathing and just speak into your womb. Like I talk about this in all my books. Just speak to your womb. It's so simple. We naturally know how to do this. Our mothers and grandmothers just forgot and then they didn't teach us, but just touch your womb and talk to and listen to her. Mostly listen to your womb, connect with her again. Maybe it's using with plant medicine, but don't overdo it. Do it with the right people at the right time in the right way. Please don't misuse plant medicine. I beg of you. If you don't know how to work with plant medicine, get a session with me. I'll teach you, even if you don't want to work with me, but do it right. And if you don't know, just don't do it. Find other ways. But please, please, please don't misuse plant medicine because it can cause a lot of damage if you don't honor it. But whatever you do, please know this, that your power is not somewhere out there. It's not in a ceremony or a teacher or a substance. It's in you. Your power has always been inside of you. You are it. Especially you, my sisters, my womb holders. I will always do anything to empower my sisters. Sometimes I'm being a little too harsh, but I'm always going to do everything to empower you, to remind you that you are the power. Don't follow anyone else. Don't think that like there is a thing that you have to worship outside of you. No, no, no. It's you. It's you. The serpent is steering my beloved sister, and the serpent is inside of you, and she remembers everything. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you for having the courage to remember and listen to someone like me. Until next time, I wish you to always walk in your power and remember who the fuck you are. I am Luna Ora, a sex priestess and a psychedelic witch. And go to motherisrising.com if you want to check out my work, my books, more videos on my YouTube. I have probably around 600 videos at this point. So there's a lot of things that I speak about and want to inspire you to think for yourself about. I love you, and you have a magical week. Until next time. Please subscribe, like, and share so I can continue making these videos and share the work of the temple. And may the goddess bless you all.